Hey, digital arts students. Today we're starting a new project to help us learn the basics of Adobe Illustrator. We're going to be opening up a new document, learning how to place a template, checking out some of the shape drawing tools that are going to get us started on our journey through Adobe Illustrator and vector graphic building. Hope you're excited about diving right in, and when we're done, we'll have a nice picture of a chicken. Let's get going. We're going to go ahead and get started by clicking on our modules and finding our assignment down at the bottom, drawing with simple shapes. We're going to need to download this JPEG that's going to function as our template for this drawing. And so you can click there and it'll hopefully end up in your downloads folder. We'll be able to find it once we get Illustrator open. And let's go ahead and do that now. Takes a couple seconds for things to get started here. And then we're going to begin by creating a new document. You're going to see some recent item sizes here, different work that you've done eventually. I don't know if you're going to see anything there the first time or first few times you open it. We're going to go over to print so that we can find one of our most familiar paper sizes, US letter size. We can go ahead and change the measurements to inches and the orientation to horizontal or landscape. Down here, we've got options that are sometimes hidden. We click to open those. We want to make sure we're choosing to work in RGB color. We can choose different levels of resolution, pixels per inch. Screen resolution is usually 72. But if you don't know your output, like end goal, sometimes it's nice to just start with a higher resolution that you would want if you were going to do any printing. So we'll just leave that on high and click Create. So this is giving us one blank artboard that we're going to build onto. First thing we want to do is go File and Save As. I'm going to navigate into some folders inside my Illustrator folder, and you can choose to make a new folder, give it a name, Digital Arts. I'm going to come inside here, and we're going to call this Simple Shapes Drawing V1 for version 1. You can include the date in there somewhere too if you want. Click Save, and in our Illustrator options, we never need to change any of this stuff, so we'll just click OK. From there, we're ready to import or place our template. So we're going to go up to the File menu, File, Place. That's the Adobe Illustrator version of importing an image. When we click there, we're going to find in our recent downloads one that's called Chicken Sketch. Click on that, and if we hit place, then we're going to drag out a space for the image to go. And that puts it right in the middle of where we want to do our work, which is not exactly how we want this image to function. We don't want it all mixed up with the vector drawing that we're making. We want it in the background. So I'm going to go to Edit, Undo Place, or you can just hit Control Z. And we're going to go through that process again. So back to the File menu, back to Place, and choosing our document that we want to use. And this time we're going to click this little tick box down at the bottom to make it a template. And now when we click Place, it's actually coming in much too large for us at the moment, but there are some other convenient things about it. One is that if we go up and look in this Layers tab, we can see that it is in a background layer, meaning it's in the bottommost layer. It also has been washed out a little bit to make it easier to work over top of, and it's locked. Part of what that means is that when we use Control- to zoom out, currently there's nothing we can do to this. We aren't able to change the size to get it down to fit on our artboard the way we want it to. We're going to need to begin by unlocking in the Layers tab, and then we can choose this. Just click on it so that these little white squares show up in the corners, and then we're going to drag to resize, holding down the Shift key so that it keeps its proportions, and I'm just going to try to drag it down to about the right size to fit onto the artboard, and move it up here to be centered on the artboard. I'm trying to decide whether I made it a little bit too small. Maybe want to shift and drag it out just a little bit bigger. Get it centered again. And yeah, that'll be good enough. Now we want to lock it again, because we don't actually want to be able to move it or resize it at all, and we don't want to accidentally select it when we're working on making our shapes. So we're going to click in this empty square space to toggle the lock back on, and then we can Control+ to zoom back in on our artboard. And now we might go and try to put some shapes on here, and notice that nothing will work. That's because we're still trying to do things to this lock background. So we need to click in our Layers panel back up here on the top layer. That's going to be our layer for creating artwork. And then we'll be ready to start making shapes.